here is the mugshot of John Eastman, PragerU contributor John Eastman, and just one of the many things that that states like Florida and Texas are saying are good to go when they're inviting the curriculum materials of PragerU into their various systems. And that's why we're meeting today, because Zoe brought it to my attention just as she had wrapped up and posted her newest video, which was about the PragerU Kids curriculum, unpacking that beyond the sensationalized headlines and beyond the politics, what's in the lesson plans and the pedagogy. Well, Jill Simonian went on PragerU Live or something to announce that PragerU Kids are now allowed in Texas schools.
Hey, so future editing, low quality camera Chris here, noting that some of the contents of this video are actually inaccurate because the folks that shared it apparently lied. An hour after we recorded this, you can see this headline here. A Texas education official went rogue, announcing that right-wing PragerU programming was coming to state classrooms. This lady, who you'll pleasantly meet shortly, yeah, it's kind of true, kind of not true, but just keep that in mind as you're watching the recording. Okay, see ya.
So something that I think is really interesting that we will get into as we watch this is that this video of theirs is very much a reaction to all of the press that the announcement that they were going to be in Florida schools got, all of the press that was about that. I don't know, it's just an interesting turn for them, I guess, to start doing like reaction and response videos. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this.
And we're on, yes? Are we on? Are we live? Both places, Facebook and YouTube. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today's Tuesday, August 22nd. I'm Jill Simonian from PragerU Kids. I'm in many of the shows. I write many of the shows. I'm also a mom who pulled my kids out of school 2 years ago when I saw how corrupt our educational system is, and it's been a while. I took a little bit of a family break the past few weeks, but for those of you who are fans of PragerU Kids and supporters, generous supporters, thank you so much for keeping us going. It's good to be back, and it's great to be in back to school season. Tell me if your kids have started school yet, whether you're joining us on Facebook Live or on YouTube. Drop a comment. I like to pop into the comments maybe about halfway through the live and say hello and see what questions you have and what responses you have. I took family time off, like I said, and I'm catching up on a heck of a lot of good news. And the good news that I am focusing on today, drum roll please, Cam, my tech guru, I always say I want a drum roll in here, Cam. And
Jill opens up her videos like Nick does. Out this first like 3 minutes, let's get to the point here.
Plays along with me. Thank you for attempting that. I always want a drum roll when I want good news, because today I am sharing the good news of our crusade to get PragerU Kids content allowed in schools across the country.
Yeah, unironic usage of the word crusade to describe their, I don't know what word to use for it.
Now, hold on. Is crusade a word that you would use to describe an apolitical, like, is that what, were the Crusades an apolitical, morally neutral thing? Because that's how PragerU tries to frame themselves in schools. They say everything else is propaganda.
I don't think that the Crusaders lobbied any politicians, so that means that they're not political.
That's true.
That's
they just
true.
solve their problems with violence, religious violence.
Dark money. Worth noting that slightly blurred but still prominent Founder's Bible, which is prominently displayed right behind her face here. So, and also the kind of like colonizer ship, which wouldn't normally have probably that connotation, but certainly in the juxtaposition of the Founder's Bible and saying Crusades has a tinge
Yikes.
of.
A few weeks ago, actually last month, it's been about a month or so now, Florida approved PragerU Kids for supplemental educational use in schools. We just announced another state that has given us the green light to be allowed in schools.
So are we ready to announce that PragerU can make it into Texas now?
We are definitely ready to welcome PragerU into the great state of Texas. Texas is now going to develop,
it's a cartoon. This cannot be reality, right? She looks like she has the Doug Dimmadome hat on, doesn't she? It's 10 feet tall.
Yeah, I feel like that would be like if you came to all of these videos like chewing on a corn stalk or something. Like,
right.
knowledge
what is this?
curriculum
Who is this person?
for kindergarten through 12th grade. This is going to be brand new for the state, and we will officially have Texas curriculum.
It seems like they're making the leap from, because we saw in Florida, supplementary material just means, oh, if I want to use one of their videos about economics in like a financial literacy class, then I can have kids watch the video. That doesn't mean that PragerU is at the table designing a Texas curriculum. So it's like they're moving from the most basic barrier of entry, like it's the lowest point of entry. Yes, you can use this as a supplementary material. To Prager is somehow playing a role in designing Texas curriculum. I don't even understand how they make that leap. It's so bizarre.
I feel like equal parts terror and equal parts hilarity, I guess. I don't know if this is like a meme or if I should be like afraid of this. This is very funny.
We're very big fans of core knowledge, and I know that our team has been working closely with all of you out there in Texas on the core knowledge curriculum, where we're going to create these supplementary lesson plans so that teachers who use the core knowledge curriculum can use PragerU videos and books and magazines and all the stuff that we make here. So it's such a huge honor for us to partner with the great state of Texas.
I don't recall hearing that word from Prager before this clip. So somebody must have communicated with them that this is the thing to say, this is the framing of it. And frankly, that is kind of worrying too, because there definitely has been a movement to a movement of people who want to latch onto the core knowledge curriculum because it's one that can be very readily controlled by top-down outside interests. And can we just explain what that is for people who might not know?
Core knowledge is referenced in their PragerU in schools page. PragerU Kids' free lesson plans are developed to cover multiple educational standards in one lesson that is fun, interactive, and entertaining. Finally, teachers can implement content grounded in traditional American values that inspire self-reliance, patriotism, and resiliency while teaching core knowledge in subjects ranging from civics to financial literacy. So it is there.
I think it's more than just a buzzword. Like that's a very specific, almost like a dog whistle. Like the people who are involved in that are going to know what that means. The core knowledge people really are like involved in this idea of like the Western canon and like this return back to the basics thing, which really has been exclusionary, exclusive. It's been meant to uphold a certain kind of way of living and like an old school kind of way of life that is more compatible with the stuff that Prager is talking about than, frankly, like the pluralistic democracy that we live in today.
And I know, like Marissa Streit, she has a video on her like Real Talk series that is her basically like discussing with Jill Simonian what they think is wrong with education in this country. And in that conversation that they have, Marissa Streit actually brings up the like core knowledge stuff of E.D. Hirsch, and she says that like his pedagogical perspective essentially of teaching those like, you know, canonical, like here are all of the things that we need to learn to be able to talk to each other and relate to each other. She says that learning about that when she was in school for education was like this revelatory moment of like, oh my gosh, somebody is finally not doing all the like progressive John Dewey stuff that she thinks is bad.
Welcome to Texas. We'll take it. That's right. We announced that PragerU Kids is now allowed in Texas, and we've been working on them, working with them, just like our CEO, Marissa Streit, said on developing core knowledge materials, core knowledge, cultural literacy, foundational education that every child in America needs to know to be properly educated, to feel united together as Americans so that they may.
Yeah, definitely reinforcing that narrative of what does that mean to feel united as Americans.
That term cultural literacy was coined by E.D. Hirsch. That is what his book was called, Cultural Literacy, What Every American Needs to Know. Oh, nice. Zoe's got the prop version of the Dictionary of Cultural Literacy. That's even, I feel like, one level up higher from Hirsch.
It just says, this is so gross on the little yellow one. Those who evade this inherent conservatism of literacy in the name of multicultural anti-elitism are, in effect, elitists of an extreme sort. Traditionally educated themselves and highly literate, these self-appointed protectors of minority cultures have advised schools to pursue a course that has condemned minorities to illiteracy.
Cultural literacy being couched in this moral failure really is where the stakes get super high, right? And then it turns into this moral panic where, oh my God, if we don't teach kids Shakespeare and the great books, then they're never going to have access to these elite institutions and these elite conversations, which really is just a way of saying, like, you know, there is a funnel for your participation in society and education. Rather than opening up the gates and the funnels and getting rid of the gatekeepers, we're saying, no, kids can only be literate, academic, educated, etc., if they pass through these particular funnels and they understand these historical references. And that just can't be the case. That's a recipe for more gatekeeping.
Already started because check this out on my screen. I gotta share this hate press, and I don't think it's being negative, but I gotta share this because here we go on X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know what we're calling it now, but here we have someone, right at the top of the morning, we found this tweet. Mr. Dave Anthony, also known as Lord. Okay, for Texas parents, write to your principal and tell them your child is not to be in class when PragerU is shown. Parents' rights, correct? Aha, touche. All right, so here's the thing about parents' rights. Dave, if that's really your real name, when we cite parents' rights,
Dave, if that's really your real name, no, that's a pseudonym.
Informed about curriculum that my child is learning at school that the school officials have not informed me about.
So, parents' rights does not refer to information you know your child is being taught, but you have a disagreement with. Parents' rights refers to information you don't know your child is being taught and you disagree with. So the second that you know your child's being taught it, it's fine.
And I will say this generally too. Generally speaking, parental rights, when we all say that we want parental rights, it means that we want to be informed about what is happening in our children's schools, inside their classrooms, what their teachers are teaching them, because we as parents are not being informed about many of these things. And so, okay, Dave, for you to say that you want parents to write to their principals to tell them that they don't want their kids in class while PragerU is being shown, citing parental rights, we're not doing anything to violate parental rights. One thing that we take exceptional pride in here at PragerU, and especially PragerU Kids, is that every single piece of our content, video, books, magazines, worksheets, you name it, it is on our website for free for anyone and everyone to access and see with full transparency what is being available.
On Monday, I was in both of my kids' classrooms for back to school night, right? I helped them set stuff in cubbies and see the room, meet the teacher, saw books on bookshelves, saw all the stuff all around the walls, all the everything, talk to the teacher, right? All the handouts that we get about all the different dates and everything, you know, and that's not new. That's not new this year because Iowa has a parent rights law. It was the same last year. It was the same the year before and the same the year before. I taught online for an entire year where not only was I being broadcast into, kids' homes and, bedrooms, kitchen tables, all the things, every single thing that I did with those classes is posted online and has been since teachers have used online LMSs, at least at, higher grade levels where that thing might be more common.
The only reason why people know that PragerU should not be taught in schools is because everything's available online. That's how we know who you are. Right. Of course, that is what people are calling you out on. So I don't even understand how this is a defense of what they're doing.
For teachers to share with children at their discretion. It's all on our website. We offer full transparency, no secrets. So yes, we are still advocating for parental rights. Parents, go to our website, watch all of our videos at PragerUkids.com. Subscribe so that you can get on our email list and be informed every single week, multiple times a week, about the different kinds of content we have being made available for you and your children, and now in Texas and Florida, being made available for teachers to include in classrooms. Go to our website and see. Full transparency. That's how we honor parental rights, so that we all know what is going on in real time at the same time. And then, you can make your decision from there. But the hate...
But isn't that what he's doing? I don't understand.
Yeah, make what decision? Make what decision? Jill?
Yeah.
If that is your real name.
To tell your teachers that they shouldn't be allowed to see this content in schools?
Right when we announced Florida weeks ago, let's go to the hate press, the Daily Beast started it all. And I'm just going to scroll through these. PragerU says Florida teachers approved to use its class curriculum in quotation marks. There's a very scary picture of myself. Daily Beast was not a complimentary...
Go back really quick. It's very funny. I love the dog. This terrifying dog image.
Not a complimentary article. Next, we have USA Today. Florida approves PragerU curriculum. Why critics are sounding the alarm on right-wing bias. Not a favorable article. People magazine. Christopher Columbus says slavery was better than getting killed in new videos approved for Florida students. We've already responded to that one too. Watch the whole video instead of plucking a 4-word soundbite out of context. What else do we have here? I just collected all the hate press just for purposes of, information. Washington Post, Florida says it doesn't want indoctrination in schools, but look at the materials it just approved. Not a complimentary article. What's next? Politico. It just goes on and on and on.
I love that she doesn't even acknowledge that at all. She just, they say we're indoctrination. I'm just not going to touch that.
They're just not being nice to them.
Florida education wars, climate. And next, what's this? Oh yes, Newsweek. How can we forget Newsweek? Frederick Douglass depiction in PragerU slavery video called Sickening. None of these. Oh, there's another one. Time Magazine. I was actually interviewed for part of this Time Magazine piece, and let me tell you what it means that.
Okay, maybe the proper thing here, the reasonable response would say okay, there's a dozen outlets. Those are all different things, right? That's not just one place saying, oh, look at these PragerU materials. Couldn't this be problematic? There's a dozen outlets and people who are kind of raising alarms about this. I think to a reasonable person, they would say, maybe there's something there to that. Let me go investigate
all
it.
Different things, right? They're not even all tackling just the Frederick Douglass video or just the Christopher Columbus video. They're all talking about different issues from different perspectives.
No, the media is controlled by liberal elites who cherry pick lines. If you watch the whole video, you would understand that what they're saying is actually very good and normal.
What's happening, what I've been discussing with many people, is that the press is trying to insert us into some kind of education war, culture war inside of education.
You're telling me the press is trying to say that PragerU is getting involved in the culture war, as in the company that on its website, on the kids' website, when you go on to PragerU, describes itself as it literally mentions the fact that it's in that's their whole thing. They offer a free alternative to the dominant left-wing ideology in culture, media, and education. Shouldn't they appreciate this? They're covering them. That's great. That's what they want to do, right? I don't understand.
Let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, as someone who writes much of this content and appears in much of this content, we are not interested, I am not interested in being inside any kind of a culture war in schools. We don't believe in that. We believe in maintaining the innocence of children. We believe in educating them with core knowledge and cultural literacy that unites us as Americans together first through our differences. So all of the hate press that you've been seeing over the last month.
So do you see how she uses cultural literacy as a way to launder objectivity? Because it's no, this isn't part of the culture war. It's part of core knowledge. It's part of cultural literacy. And that puts it in this neutral space where it's just this objective thing. And I just went real quick on Google and I just typed in PragerU culture war because there's a video from the Dennis Prager show, but it's labeled as PragerU and it says how to win the culture war ? PragerU. And it's this 2-minute clip, ostensibly, of Dennis Prager talking about how to win the culture war. And okay, don't watch this video, but just scroll down to the first comment. What does the first comment say? We must retake the educational system.
I just had a horror movie, Christopher Nolan level twist, stomach drop, reading that comment.
With the announcement of inclusion in Texas schools, I'm sure we're going to be seeing much more of it. Guess what? We've got many more announcements with PragerU Kids to be allowed in different schools across the country. We've got more announcements coming up. Let me see if we have any comments in our Facebook. I always check the Facebook comments first just because that's the easiest for me to get to. Curious to see if anyone here is in Florida or Texas schools. Let's see what we got so far. So fascist states are now encouraging you to lie to children. Got it. No, Lou, I disagree with you. We always welcome freedom of expression and, of course, civility here in our Facebook comments and YouTube comments. But, Lou, I encourage you to go to our website, PragerUkids.com. I promise you will not burst into flames upon visiting. But look through our videos. Look at our children's videos. Watch the videos in full, in entirety. We're not lying to children. I recommend Otto's Tales for you to start. It's the story time for kindergarten through second grades, focusing on values such as honesty and kindness. Let's see. Excellent. Vicky, go Prager. Prager identifies itself as a partisan political organization. How is it okay to allow a one-sided political group create curriculum for kids? Chris, this is a really good question. Prager identifies itself as a partisan political organization. Here's the thing. I'm just going to, attack this. Not attack, part of my words. I'm going to
They can't contain themselves. They're trying so hard to be this neutral organization, but everything she says is so baked into culture war terminology. Like,
yeah, no, like literally, yeah.
This head on. We are not a political organization. We do not lobby for any groups. We do not, we do not endorse candidates for political runs or campaigns or anything like that. We're not a political organization.
You can't. If you're a nonprofit, you can't endorse candidates. That's just part of the law.
The two things that make someone political, they lobby and they endorse candidates, and that's it. That's it.
An educational media organization. Yes, of course, we lean conservative, but guess what? We also value freedom of speech, freedom of thought, diversity of opinion. We have many videos, not only in our PragerU Kids section, but in our general PragerU 5-minute videos, stories of us. We have a lot of videos that even I don't agree with, that really explore different schools of thought about varying cultural topics.
Like John Eastman talking about the separation of church and state, you know?
Here's the thing that I want to share with you, Chris, and let's just take a look at the screen right now. I pulled this up for another part of this podcast, but I'm running short on time, so I'm just going to show it now. Chris, if you're looking, I want you to look at what I have pulled up on the screen. It's called Black Lives Matter at Schools, Week of Action, February 1st through the 5th. This is a lesson plan. You can see the website here, lausd.org. This is Los Angeles.
But it's available for free online. So it's fine. I mean, she has it open right now. It's a PDF. You can go to that website right now and find it for free. So
I have the link. I sent you the link, so we could even open it up and look at it if you wanted to. I don't know if we need to. No,
it's fine. Parents' rights, Nick.
A few years ago, when Black Lives Matter was making its way into schools, keep in mind Black Lives Matter is not an accredited educational institution, yet somehow they had lesson plans.
Zoe and I have spent so much time trying to unpack the what even is it, like the id of Dennis Prager? You know, there's something about building a parallel institution, right? PragerU evokes the image of what? If you guys think of like,
it's like UMass or LSU.
Yes,
what does the U stand for?
University. And in fact, Dennis Prager has paid programs called like the Master's Program with Dennis Prager. But really interesting that Jill basically just aped the same language that is on the very bottom of the PragerU website. And it says, PragerU is not an accredited university, nor do we claim to be. Nor we don't offer degrees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But isn't that the thing that that is the accusation she just levied against the Black Lives Matter at Schools movement, where she said, look, they're not an accredited education institution designing lessons for use in schools. And that is PragerU's exact mission. And they have the exact same disclaimer on their own website.
It's like next level cognitive dissonance. Like you can't get any clearer than this.
This isn't even a lesson plan. Look at it. It's just, here are recommended materials for different grade levels, elementary and secondary.
Right, they do offer lesson plans, but like they're super they're transparent about it. Like I don't understand this argument. This is a free resource that's available online that's posted for parents to view. And parents' rights would tell you that if I'm able to view this and I'm okay with my kid learning it, why does it matter if they're teaching this in school? Like, isn't this the exact same thing that they're doing? Now, obviously, there's more factual information here, and there's like people that have like lesson planning experience, but like the idea that they're taking issue with Black Lives Matter doing this just seems the cognitive dissonance, as you said before, is shocking.
Deliver directly to students through our public educational system. Just want to scroll through this. Elementary resource. So, talking all about Black Lives Matter. Action steps. Community building circle. Another week of action. Children and youth as changemakers. The proudest blue. My name is Celia. We have many BLM lessons. Scrolling down. Oh, look. Midweek in this Black Lives Matter in Schools Week of Action curriculum plan. Trans affirming, queer affirming, and collective value. So we have all of these lesson plans that were allowed.
It's reactionary stuff 101, right? It's all the exact same playbook. We've had so many videos covered about us where folks will just scroll through and see, oh, they said LGBT, and then they highlight it and then they move on. And that's supposed to somehow rationalize the fact that these are not useful resources. But notice how she hasn't actually clicked on any of these or gone into more detail. Like, is someone really going to be offended about a lesson that talks about welcoming and accepting people? I thought that was their whole thing, was unity and difference of opinion and like all these values that they were talking about before.
Yeah,
right?
It's almost like they only value unity when it's like specific groups of people. Interesting.
That frankly was part of a true political organization, because Black Lives Matter, the organization, was a political entity who did endorse different directives and agendas and so forth that separate kids by the color of their skin, that force them to identify their sexual orientation at schools. So I don't know, Chris. I don't know why political organizations like Black Lives Matter is allowed to be in schools.
Chris.
Yeah, it's freaking me out that it's my name because I genuinely feel like she's talking to me.
Based on core knowledge and cultural literacy at PragerU Kids, we believe that teaching children values that unify each other and all of us as Americans is in fact valuable. So I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Keep teaching truth.
So just to think about this just
I
for a
love that
second.
we all made the same face.
They're not teaching politics. They're teaching cultural literacy. It's entirely different. You know, again.
And as we know, cultural literacy is apolitical.
Right. It's a totally neutral space. It's just the things that kids need to know to be successful in society. And society, as we know, is inherently apolitical as well, right? There's no politics. There's no ideologies that go into shaping who and what is. Yes.
PragerU, you are so welcome.
Are we done?
Okay.
This video is hilarious to me, too, because it ends about here. And she's like, oh, we're almost out of time. And then she will go on to talk for 5 more minutes, kind of about nothing.
Let's do it really quick.
Okay.
I'm actually out of time. I only had about 15 minutes today, but I just wanted to touch base and say hi, say happy back to school. I wanted to give.
That's also such a total shift from what we just did. Like, it was just like an opener of, hey, this is so great. Can't wait to make this announcement. But the woke left is trying to destroy us and all these partisan people. Happy back to school.
Parents a little bit of encouragement. Since we're talking good news today, PragerU Kids being announced to be included in Texas schools, or actually I should say, since I'm sharing good news today with the announcement of PragerU Kids being allowed to be included into Texas schools and Florida schools now. We got 2 states down, we got 48 to go. I do want to bring you more good news in parental rights. Weeks ago, just as a reminder, the Board of Education in Chino Valley Unified and Murrieta Valley Unified in Southern California voted to inform parents that if when a student changes their gender identity at school, the parents will be informed. One of the most reasonable things I've ever heard of in my life. As a mom, I fully appreciate that. I can't imagine any parent that...
Just talk to your kids. If you don't know that your kid is thinking differently about gender and identity and those kinds of things, then if you don't have your thumb on the pulse of how your child is thinking about themselves and the world, come on, right?
Can we just real quick... So one of the things that I talk about in my video looking at the lesson plans is that PragerU seems to just not really care at all about children or like see children as like full human beings worthy of respect. And this is like so telling, the fact that Jill is like framing this around like, but what about the parents? What do the parents want? The parents want to be informed. And it's like she has not mentioned what the child wants or how the child feels, or if the child is comfortable telling their parent. Like the fact that she doesn't even acknowledge the child in this discussion at all is wild.
Extreme hierarchies, right? Like that's the whole cultural norm of this line of thinking, is that you have a powerful patriarchal leader who tells people exactly what to think and do and to be controlled. So of course a child wouldn't have any rights or say in anything that's going on. And it's the woke left trying to give kids more of a voice that they might, question some of the things that they're talking about. It's a power grab move to them. How could you even think about doing something?
You don't have to be anti-parent rights or however problematic that's framed to be like, kids belong to themselves, right? I have 2 kids of my own. There's legal obligations that I have to them, but right, I don't own them. They are not my property to be like bought and sold. They don't belong to me. They belong to themselves. So it totally changes my role as a parent.
They don't believe in parents' rights, right? It's only parents' rights if it goes along with the things that they believe in, AKA there's no rights involved. It's just like my way or the highway. In the exact same way that they say they value diverse opinions, but the second that a diverse opinion is shared, they don't value that opinion. This is all just using pseudo language to sponsor an idea to get the normies to go along with what they're saying, because like a random person on the street hears parents' rights and they're like, yeah, parents should have rights, as opposed to actually reading into this, because the second that someone shared their opinion as a parent on these curriculum resources, their opinion wasn't valid. This has nothing to do with anyone's rights. It's just instilling these ultra nationalistic standards or resources into schools, culture war stuff.
I just don't understand how people can go into education and be self-described educators and not like children outside of children being seen as like pets that you control and have commands for, and they do exactly what you want them to. Like, like I say in my video, like, I feel like all of these things just betray how PragerU feels about kids.
However, this California superintendent of schools, Tony Thurmond, showed up in Chino Valley to dispute.
Also, FYI, not a partisan organization. We just shared this announcement and we instantly shifted into some of the most partisan language you could potentially do in the same video. Also, the still is incredible.
Yeah, you paused it at a great time.
This reasonable action made by that local board of education. Now, August 22nd, tonight, Temecula Valley School District, also in Southern California, from what I'm seeing online through various sources, they are voting on whether or not they should adopt this parental notification policy in Temecula Valley schools. So good things are happening, even here in Southern California. And yes, it is about parental rights. And parental rights means transparency. Transparency, transparency, transparency. If there is one word that you need to continue to speak up about at all of your local school board meetings, it is the word transparency.
I feel like there's a really low-hanging joke to make here about, like, oh, but I thought that PragerU didn't like trans kids, yet they're really supporting trans parents.
Grateful and proud to say that, yeah, we do offer transparency at PragerU Kids. And so if you haven't subscribed to PragerUkids.com, do it now. You can get all of the updates in your email inbox and see exactly what we are doing. It is all online, all on our website, all of our materials that will be included, that will be allowed for inclusion in Texas and Florida schools. It's all on our websites, PragerUkids.com. And as long as we have transparency, here it is, it's up on the screen now. Here we go, PragerUkids.com. Everything we offer, all of our shows, all of our content, all of our worksheets, it's all going to be up there for you to see, for you to vet, for you to watch, for you to form opinions about. And we just thank you for all of your support. And
I feel like people that work in this field are just so mad. Like, this is a 15-minute long stream, and it is so apparent that this was deeply troubling and upsetting to her. Just the way that she's talking about this, the energy she has to go through and talk about these woke liberals questioning their curriculum. I can't imagine this energy being shared with masses at public schools.
If you go to the PragerU website, Chris, and you just scroll down almost to where you were before when you saw that disclaimer, because they have a list of 4, 8, 12 different featured contributors, right? And so if we don't know who's writing the curriculum, and I'm a parent, and I just go to PragerU and I say, well, who else is contributing to PragerU resources? And I look at that list, maybe I don't know who half of those people are, but if I Google them, for example, Larry Elder is currently running for president as a Republican. What else am I supposed to take away from this, Or if I Google, I don't know, like Michael Knowles, okay, maybe I've heard of Ben Shapiro or something else, Michael Knowles, and I look at some of these things here, like, here's what, Michael Knowles has to say on these topics. Am I supposed to assume that he's apolitical, that Ben Shapiro is apolitical, that Candace Owens and Jordan Peterson are apolitical people? Chris, this doesn't have to make it into the edit, but just go to Discord to what I just posted in the Discord. You can open up the article if you want to. But Otto the Bulldog, who's the mascot of Otto's Adventures or whatever, he died. Thoughts on the death of my dog?
I have long feared that many people are replacing love of humans with love of animals.
What? This is in the obituary, the epitaph for his beloved Booch.
He has a concern because his dog died that people are loving their animals more than they love other humans. While it is well known that people who are cruel to animals are more likely to be cruel to human beings, the converse is not true. Kindness to animals does not necessarily lead to kindness with humans.
Is this about his dog, or is this just Dennis dealing with his own weird little picadillos,
I was expecting this to be at least something that's relatable, because, your dog dying is incredibly sad, but no.
PragerU is an island of sanity in the midst of the culture war, or island of sanity in the midst of the culture war insanity.
As much as we love our dogs, a love that is genuine and deep, we know we can get another dog, but we can never get another human being after the loss of a child.
What the is he talking about?
When a dog leaves, the next dog you get's the same as the dog that died. That's how it works.
He actually did. No, but like he did. If you watch his fireside chats, there is a new bulldog.
There's a new Otto?
What? Obviously not named Otto, but yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even know if this will make it into the edit, but it's just, this is the guy. Like, that's so
This
weird.
should not make it into the edit, by the way.
Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe and do all those YouTube things. And in the comments, tell us what your definition of parental rights is.